Oh, hey, Jeremy here from Long Speed Marine. Well, listen, I'm going to give you an update on what's going on. And for those of you that pay attention, you'll notice there's something missing. And there's two somethings missing. Can you guess? I'll give you one guess. Two guesses to guess the two one things. Okay, I'm missing a 4-post hoist, which used to be here. And what was last on it was the Mercury. So it's gone. So we were potentially planning on moving. Sort of got squashed if you follow my social media stuff. So that kind of got squashed. Things happened. And anyway, so I was going to have to clear out all of my cars because I was going to move to a regular subdivision house with just a simple 2-car garage. And with all the tools, really couldn't have any of these cars and really no space to work on stuff. So I need to get rid of stuff and have a car that was basically a driver. So that's what started happening. So I got rid of the wooden boat, the Gravette Century. So it's gone to a good home. And the Mercury, it's gone to a good home. So the Mercury is a 26-year-old kid. He's his dad's part of a car club, long history of custom car guys and that. So if he gets hung up on it, obviously he'll have a lot of ambition being younger than me. And if he gets hung up on it, I know those guys will step in to help him and they have the expertise to help him get it done. So I feel good about that. I feel good where it's gone. I have, oddly enough, zero remorse about it. So I'm happy about that. The C50 is still here because I was going to sell it. It was up for sale. But a lot of people have problems with taking it to the next step. I think that the people that would want to own it don't have the know-how maybe, or the place to take it to the next step, which doesn't need much. So I'm going to get it there. I've decided I took it off the market. So what I'll do is I'll get the front rad cradle done, steering done, and all that. I'll show you a bit of that in just a second. So I'm keeping the Oldsmobiles. So they will stick around. And with doing all that, I also acquired another car because I didn't want to have to move and have no classic car because, as you can tell, I'm into classic cars. So to move into the subdivision house and have something that ran and drove, I sort of made a deal on a car before all this stuff went down. And it happens to be sitting over here. So I'll show you what I've got. And we'll talk about the C50 a little bit. All right, so here's what I picked up. 1972 Buick Skylark. It is not a GS. We're just trying to come up with maybe some personalized plates or something for it, but here it is. It does have a GS hood, GS badge on it, but it's not a GS. Clearly, as it says, Skylark 350 on the fender. This car is pretty cool, actually. So 72, it was a Canadian car, which is where I am, but it was in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which doesn't often get a lot of salt, stuff like that. If you guys watch DD Speed Shop, that's where he's from. He's now living in Alberta, but he was from Manitoba. And so stuff stays somewhat rust-free out there, but this was original owner, owned it up till, best I can tell, to 95. I have basically that guy had all the service records for this car, and all the repair records and all that kind of stuff for this up till 95, which is then, again, best I can tell, is when it came into Ontario. So, orange car was always an orange car. Sport mirrors, buckets, console, tilt steering wheel, which is very uncommon. So all this stuff, this is all factory. This is all original. All this interior is original. It's never been redone. Even the headliner, there's one little tiny tear up there in the headliner, but the car is in pretty good shape. Door panels are pretty good. Maybe just needs, a little bit of cleaning up and stuff. Your typical just sort of dirt and grime in there. So we'll clean some of that up, vacuum the floors, that kind of stuff. But it's a decent driver. It does have some Bondo in it. but whatever, it's a daily driver. There's some bubbles in the paint. I don't know if you can see that. So there's a few bubbles in the paint. There's a few flaws in it, which is perfect for me because then at least I'll drive it. The really cool thing about this car, Birchwood, Chevrolet, Buick, is where it was originally purchased. That's the original dealer's tag on there. So that's really, really cool. I've got, like I said, I've got the original bill of sale. I've got the original build sheet, repair stuff from this. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's got some Bondo in it here in the fender, whatnot, or a quarter panel, sorry. In the door, it's got kind of a weird dealy thing there. So I'll have to fix that up. But doors open and close nice. Yeah, so the fellow I got it from, Dan, he's got a lot of these cars, and a lot of them are way nicer than this. I was actually surprised once I really looked closely at this car that he owned it. But he put the GS hood on it. So that's kind of cool. That's a bonus. It is just a 352 barrel in it. And I will pop the hood and show you what's underneath there now. All right, so there it is. Kind of dirty, grungy on here. I'll clean this up a little bit. Valve cover gaskets need to be replaced. Could use a new radiator. So I'll clean some of this stuff up, but your basic Buick 350 two barrel. I mean, it's got the high horsepower lid flip option, which I guess would kind of work with the vents in the hood. Maybe suck some cold air in. I don't know. It's power brakes, power steering, but it's drum brakes. I don't really like that, so was out for a cruise today. They're not really adjusted up properly, but they do, as you know, fade, and they fade pretty bad on this car than what I'm normally used to. So we'll see. I'll get it on the lift. Hopefully, we'll just jack it up here and take a look at it. We'll see whether we do a disc brake conversion on this or just fix up what's there. But anyways, it's just a nice, decent, clean-ish driver, really. So something to drive around, bomb around in, you know, the Buick rally wheels stuff on it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, pretty excited. Like I said, took it for a pretty decent drive today with Joanne and Emily, and cruised around pretty good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Joanne's pretty happy with it. You know, she wasn't too happy that I was buying it, but once we got out and cruised around in it today, it was pretty cool, pretty fun. So yeah, so that's my new cruiser. So if you're in the Ontario area, you know, see me cruise around, say hey. Now to the C50. So here's where we're at with the C50. I've got this rad support lower front mount bent, but I just need to weld it all in. So I need to tack weld all that stuff in, so that I can get the radiator in, figure out my top mounts, whatever I'm doing with those. So then the rad's in, and then the next sort of hurdle, I guess, is brakes and steering. People also seem to be hung up on that. So I'm going to get the steering in. I've got the steering column cut. I've got all my universal joints and all that kind of stuff to make, basically to adapt this steering to it. So I'll do all that, and then possibly put Hydro Boost on it, and get all that going and ready and done for people. So that's where I want to take this a little bit more, and then we'll see what happens from there. If I do all that and then get super motivated, you know, maybe I'll hook up more stuff on the engine and get in running. Or I'm also toying with, I mean, you guys comment down below and let me know. I'm almost thinking about taking this motor and putting it in that car, in the Oldsmobile. Thinking about taking the motor, that one, putting it onto, where is it? The Turbo 350 that's sitting right next to the car there, and putting it in that purple car, because that purple car will be another car that sort of gets thrown together relatively quickly. I won't sell it. I'll never sell that car. Sort of have an agreement that if I ever want to get rid of it, I have to give it back. So again, I'll throw that car together. It should go together relatively quickly, you know, just bolting stuff back on and whatever. And let's not, you know, one of those things where I'm thinking I'm not going to worry about, you know, all this Bondo-ish rust repair stuff. I just want to get this thing bolted back together, which again, I should be able to do because I have that other parts car out there. The only thing that I'm really missing from this car, between what the fellow I got it from and the parts car that I have is the windshield. So I've got to figure out a windshield. I do have a line on one here, but man, I didn't realize how expensive they were. So that's going to be sort of the next project once I get this sorted. And so the idea here in the shop is obviously to clean up, because this is a disaster, is to get the C50 over here, so I can work on it over here, and then bring in the 57 Oldsmobile four-door parts car, put it on the lift so I can strip it all down, get all the parts off it that I need for this, and then pull that car out and then put that 57 on the lift, so that I can start bolting the stuff on. Like I need to use the steering column and the steering box and all that stuff for this car. Basically all the steering components I need to use for this. And a bunch of I think what I'm going to probably end up doing is put the stock brakes and heater and firewall and all that kind of stuff back in this car, because again, I have it on that four-door car. So why not? So that's probably the idea here, is to put all that together. At least I think I have the brakes in that car. Anyways, if not, I'll figure that out. Maybe just find a stock one from somewhere, but they're expensive, those. They were a Hydro Boost setup on these. There are conversions to go to swinging pedals, so maybe I'll look into that as well. There are a couple companies that make that to go to a swinging pedal setup with the master cylinder up here on the firewall, sort of a traditional setup. So that's the scoop on that. Like I said, not much to do on this, other than sort of check the brakes over a little bit, and play with a few things here and there, but this is just going to be a fun driver. And I'm totally stoked about that I can just get in this car, drive it around. I'm not even going to bother with any of the paint or any of that kind of stuff till maybe next winter. I'll start maybe tinkering with that, but we'll see how it goes. Again, I don't want to make this car too nice. I was already paranoid today when we were driving around, with Joanne and Emily in there. We had ice cream and whatnot, and I was freaking out a little bit. So if I make this car too nice, I'm really going to freak out and I'm not going to want to drive it. So it's just who I am, how I am. So this is perfect. So I'm happy about that. Anyways, that's what's going on around the shop. So I'm going to start cleaning up. Oh, the other thing I'm going to do is this whole wall. I'm going to kind of make this a display wall of my hubcaps. I'm going to move my Cadillac sign over there, this big Cadillac sign that I have. Maybe my poster too. Joanne was saying the other day, why don't you make this big empty wall something? So I've got a ton of hubcaps, that sign. I've got a Chevy sign. I'd love to find a Buick sign, and an Oldsmobile sign, or something like that. My Canadian flag can go over there. Anyways, that's, another project I'm going to work on is sort of decorating that wall up a little bit, because it is a bit, it's a bit bare, big blank wall. But that's what's going on around the shop. Posts will be kind of limited, as they have been, sort of changing things up around here. There's stuff going on with Emily, family stuff, and I just need to focus on her more and family more. Not that I sort of wasn't or neglecting them, but even more. We're going to do a lot more family stuff, have a lot more fun. That's sort of, where this car comes into play, so we can go for a cruise in it, because we all do appreciate classic car. We had a blast today driving around in it. The girls love it. So we plan on doing a lot more stuff like that this year. Doing a lot more really quality family time, making some memories. So anyways, that's what we're going to keep doing. That's an update on the shop around here. I'll see you on the next one. And remember, failure's not an option. You just got to keep going on your projects. Take care.